Am I the a-hole for not wanting my daughter to marry her cousin? My daughter is planning on getting married very soon. However, I found out last week upon doing research on our family tree that my daughter's fiancé is her 5th cousin. I initially didn't know how to break this news to her, but I finally did several days ago. My daughter apparently thought that this is perfectly fine and that she's still going to marry him anyway. I told her that I don't approve of this marriage and that even though I initially agreed to pay for this wedding, I will not be paying for it if she decides to go through with it. We got into a huge fight, which ended with her telling me that she's cutting me out of her life. I honestly don't know what to do. I just don't want my daughter to marry her friggin' cousin. You're the a-hole. You agreed to help pay for the wedding. 5th cousin is basically nothing, and they were already in love and getting married super soon before finding this out. Were you looking for a reason not to like her fiancé or something? Sounds like it. I wondered this too. It's not a Lannister situation here. And even if it were, a Lannister always pays his debts. So pay for the wedding and don't go if it bothers you so much. You're the a-hole. 5th cousins only share great grandparents and less than 5% DNA if that. Op is being ridiculous. Yeah, you're surely getting to the same level of DNA you would share with virtually anyone. 5th cousin is not incest. If they were to have a baby, it would suffer no ill effects from this. It's far enough out of the direct family to not be weird as well. Iceland has done some studies and 4th/5th cousins are actually optimal genetic partners. In fairness, Iceland is the Alabama of the Nordic countries. That's not fair. In Iceland they try really hard not to marry their first cousins. LMAO, this is so hilarious honestly, and Op is treating it so seriously. Imagine going up to your daughter, who's about to get married, and saying, "Sit down sweetie, I have to tell you something. We all have to be strong here." Asterisk deep breath asterisk it turns out Jeffrey is. Well, he's asterisk sobs asterisk an extremely distant relation much like the rest of the populace. I'm so sorry to be the one to break this to you. Obviously mom just hates the fiancé and is desperately looking for an out. He's the grandson of your great aunt. Hang on, let me pull up ancestry.com. I think it's Jane or Joan or Joan. He's the son of your great aunt Isabel. You know, great auntie Belle. Oh, the despair. One of my friends once said the rule of thumb is, if someone shows up at the wedding and doesn't know which side of the aisle to sit on, it's too close. Since no one even knew they were related till Op did some heavy research, doubt that is a problem, so they're good. Pretty sure if 5th cousins was against the rules, half of rural America wouldn't be able to get married, because people stay around where they're from and most everyone is related if you dig down the line enough. If you're really that worried, Op, get a consultation from a doctor to see if it's actually a health risk. Otherwise, keep your promise to your daughter. I think people are missing the amount of research this person did to actually find out how closely related they are to them. This is going back generations, finding a common ancestor, and then extrapolating how many cousins removed they are. Op would have had to get the parents' names, then trace it back, and then when realizing how loosely related they are to take offense at it. I've researched my own family tree and it's not the easiest thing to do, and I dare say Op's daughter probably has thousands of people who qualify as her 5th cousin. You're the a-hole. Sure does look like you hate your daughter's partner and we are searching for anything to break them up. Also, for what it's worth, your daughter didn't cut you off for just this. It takes more than one argument for a kid to cut off a parent like that. It's time to look in a mirror and figure out what you did and what you've been doing for a long time. You need to reanalyze your relationship with your daughter, preferably from a place of empathy and trying to see things from her perspective. If you want a relationship with your daughter and future grandkids, it's time to do some serious self-reflection. and ask yourself why this relationship your daughter and her fiancé have makes you so angry. It sure as shiz isn't because they're cousins. You were very clearly looking for an excuse. You're the a-hole. I'm a prenatal genetic counselor. We don't care about fifth cousins. The risk for their child to inherit an autosomal recessive condition is negligible. Heck, I looked through my family tree on Ancestry.com and way back in the 1800s or so, my main settler's roots has a first cousin marriage. No big deal for me. Generations later. Is there a different reason why you don't approve of this marriage? It feels like you're grasping at straws. Also, if she's going no contact with you, this probably isn't the first time you've been the a-hole. You're the a-hole. Okay, so here's the thing. Legally speaking, third cousin and beyond is allowable in marriage. Not legally speaking, no one in the family knew of any relationship until you started doing research. And now, suddenly, you expect your daughter to throw away the love of her life that she might have some distant relation to? FYI, records are not 100% accurate. My great uncle's first name is Morris. According to the United States he doesn't exist. But Mary O does. Even my own birth certificate has my parents' ages wrong, and my dad's first name wrong. My dad has a name that's commonly the abbreviated version of a longer name. Think Benji from Benjamin, only it's his actual name, not an abbreviation. He and my mother were 23 and 24, but they have him listed as 23 and her as 25, when he's actually 6 months older than she is. So there's a possible relation that's at least 5 times removed. That means great 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 ancestor. And you expect your daughter to just cancel the wedding and now you're holding her financially hostage. But you wonder if you were the a-hole? Yeah. Totally are. The only reason you care is your daughter told you she's going to cut you out of her life. And rightfully so. You're the a-hole. There is a difference between being raised family and being technically related by some great relative from 75 years ago. They aren't hurting anyone or anything but your suddenly delicate sensibilities. If she showed up with cousin Joe from down the street, who always comes to Sunday dinner, I'd be worried. But she showed up with some random Joe who nobody knew. Now it turns out you share a great grandparent and all of a sudden you're worried. Are you going to do the genealogy and family of everyone your kids bring home, just to be safe? No. Because if they are not family enough to know before you do research, they are not family. Besides, there is a difference between a cousin and a cousin. I have cousins I don't even know about. My family tree split twice on my dad's side, and once on my mom's side. I wouldn't even recognize them, and names are so common that I don't even know who the hell would be who. I have second cousins I've only met at a great grand relative's funeral. They are not cousins. I wouldn't even consider them my family. I have cousins who are barely even related to me, but we spent every summer running around together like hooligans. Hell, one of them is more like a brother to me, and we are second cousins, once removed. Those are real cousins. Info. I see all these you're the a-hole responses focusing on the degree of relation between the two in the couple. I'm just over here wondering if the fiancé knows about the fifth cousin relationship. If he knows and doesn't care, then let it be. But if he doesn't know, then he should be told, preferably by the daughter, so that he can know what he's going into and make his own informed decision with his eyes wide open. If he's not told ahead of time, it may cause problems down the road if he finds out after they are already married. You're the a-hole. I mean, if you go all the way back, there were something like 10 Homo sapiens that started all of our current ancestry, so I'm sure we're all slightly related, haha. Of course this isn't an accurate number, but you get what I mean. Anyway, fifth cousin is crazy removed. Like hardly related removed. I'm assuming they've been together long enough to have already fallen in love and planned on getting married, and soon at that. So why are you pulling this now? If you were worried about something like this, You should be DNA testing all her potential boyfriends from the first date on. Honestly, it sounds like you just want to get out of paying. Stop alienating your daughter and your soon-to-be son-in-law. You're the a-hole and absolutely ridiculous. A fifth cousin? Who does a genealogical study on their kid's fiancé? A fifth cousin is related by having shared grandparents from like 200 years ago. Great 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 grandparents. You probably have hundreds or more cousins in that line. You probably have other people in your family who share the same amount of DNA, or possibly more, with their spouses. And the DNA the bride and groom share is virtually nothing. It's not the same as a first or second cousin. I guarantee you and your spouse, or your parents or grandparents, are related, too, even if it's more distant than fifth cousins. If you would found that out about you and your spouse after you were married, would you have divorced? Seems like Op is desperately trying to find any way to derail this wedding. They don't like the fiancé, or don't want to pay for the wedding that they already promised to pay for. Either way, Op is wrong. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See you all later.